Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. So, I'm playing all these correspondence games against people from Cumnor Chess Club. Let's have a look how we're doing. So, how do you do it? Play. Okay, this is Gary, I think. So, Gary has accepted the challenge, which is awesome. And for most of these guys, I'm doing c4. But maybe for Gary, we'll do something different. Maybe we'll do. No, we won't. We'll do c4. Let's see what he's got against c4. Okay, this one, Ian. Well, we talked about e6 or d6, and there's sort of an openings explorer thing in here, analysis board. I think the stats for d6 are slightly better. I mean, the stats for d6 favor black, right? So what we're likely to see is d6, bishop c4. What I wanted to point out is you don't play f6, knight f6 here, because they have e5. And when you take it, they take your queen, take back with the knight, and then knight b5 is really hard, is a disaster. That's why in this position you're playing a6. It's just like the Nadorf, d6 and a6. So we go back to the game. We're going to play d6. Ian will have programmed in c4, bishop c4. There you go. And we will turn to that. Oh, I guess we know we're going to play a6, right? He's castled. I don't know what's next, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's knight f6. I mean, I have a sneaking suspicion it's knight f6. Okay. Next. I think I'm using live chess very inefficiently. There's probably a lot of people out there who know how to use it. Okay, so c4, c4, knight f6, knight c. Okay, I think the plan here is to play e4 to prevent the Grunfeld. So we believe the Grunfeld is good. We're going to prevent. Now this is the big one. Well, this is the one I've been thinking about today. So versus Nigel. So he's played f4, and firstly we're going to look at what we want to avoid. So what we want to avoid is this, because g6, knight f3, very harmonious, develop the bishop, bishop c4. I mean, actually, bishop b5 checks even stronger, but we'll call it bishop c4, knight c6, castles, e6, d3, knight g7, queen e1, castles into the attack, f5. We take it, queen h4, and we basically lost. I mean, look at the color of this here. It's slightly complex because we could have taken this with the g pawn, and the stats look a lot better. Although I don't like the way that feels, but the stats look better. But I mean, these sort of smashing attacks on the king's side against the fianchettoed bishop are absolutely characteristic of this line, and we don't want it to happen. So we're going to have to think about what that all means. But I suppose, isn't knight c6 just a move here? Let's have a look, because you're going to have to do. I mean, it looks like knight c6 is less of a good move, but I just don't believe it. You've got to develop the queen side. Knight f3. Then you've got a question about whether you play g6 or not. You see, I'm worried about playing g6. When I first talked about the strength of the Sicilian, I basically said either you get the open Sicilian where you trade the c pawn for the d pawn, or you get control of d4. So the whole point is consistent Sicilian players want to play g6 and control d4. But I do worry about those sort of dramatic attacks that that white can drum up. So we'll see. But I think in the meantime, maybe we just develop the queen's knight, and at least we're fighting for control of d4. This, I mean, c4, c5. Let's control the d5 square, but we're probably just going to bring both knights. Oh, no, I think that's okay. We're probably going to bring both knights out. Okay, so the trick here is we played e4 in the other King's Indian type game, but here we're going to play d4. Because the problem with e4, I think, is e5. So I think d4 is the move here, and we're heading for some kind of King's Indian. This is against Keith, I think. Some kind of King's Indian type setup. Liam, we played d6 last time, we played e6 this time. I mean, we played knight c6 last time, we played knight c6 this time. This is fascinating against Nick. Okay, so I can make this easier or I'm going to make it complicated. The easier answer is we're going for symmetry. I mean, once I play g6, we're all going to play bishop g2, bishop g7, castle, castle. I mean, what's the difference between g6 and knight c6? It's control of the d4 square, but you don't actually get control of the d4 square, so there's probably very little difference. I don't want to play e6 and d5 because it basically comes into some of these Queen's Gambit declined lines, which I've decided I don't want. So I'm basically going to play g6. So if I know I'm going to play g6, I may as well play it. I mean, you can play d6, but maybe I've got some memory that some of the elite players are playing that at the moment. Well, that's great for them. Okay, here, look, we can play d5, bishop b5, bishop d6. What's not to like? Should we have a look at the stats? Let's have a look at the stats. d5 we're playing. Yeah, it's all right. Equal stats. b5 all to play for. Bishop d6 equal stats. That's okay. It's an interesting, uncompromising game, isn't it? Gareth. It's the exchange variation of the Greenfelt. It's the full-blooded. I would just add, by the way, that I've got black against Gareth, Nigel, Ian, Nick. I mean, what's going on, Lichess? You know, I mean, okay. I think that's everything. Am I playing knight f6 next? I mean, I don't want to rush the game with Ian because I like that they're going at the same speed, but this is all under control. I'm loving these games. I hope you're all well, and I'll see you all soon.